Okay, I'm making this video to respond to a really racist quote that somebody a really racist meme that somebody showed me on Facebook. I was I was given this quote by this Mark Sharp guy who sent it to me, and in the quote implies that white people are a superior race, or the white European races are superior compared to everyone else, and and this meme is implying that because of these reasons here. Other people's and so the meme goes, I'm not saying there is a superior race, but if there were, other peoples would clamor to live in that race's nation, uh, in those races in that race's nations. Um, and my response to that is that what I find really funny about these people, that these white supremacists that show you these kind of memes and all that, they never mention, man. They always fail to mention that humanity owns no nation. No human race on the planet. If you're, it doesn't matter if you're white or black, Asian. So be you. You do not. No nation is controlled by humans. The very foundation of civilization itself, the system, the matrix, the aliens that control this system, they push the idea that that it was Aryans, that it was white people that founded, civilization as we know it. um and I would say that could be true to some extent, as these aliens work through white hosts and white hybrids. And I'm talking about like reptilian hybrids, alien hybrids that have like actual alien genetics in their DNA. Most people, normal people, don't. And I'm and one of these hybrid types could be the Rh negative blood type. These types, I believe, could have some direct link to the reptilians or the aliens that control this planet. But and they say Rh negative blood types make up around like 15%, 15 to 30% of the European population. So, but they're found, among Europeans the most. So, and I don't believe these Rh negative blood types have the same amount of spiritual potential as those who are not, who are Rh positive, compared to those who are Rh positive. And so, but other than that, the civilization that we know, civilization as we know it, is an imitation form of what a real human civil. I mean, it's an imitation human civilization. Humanity has never truly known a civilization of our own. We've only ever known imitations. A real human civilization, goes way beyond, the civilizations that we recognize. So, a real human civilization is psychic. A multi, a real human civilization. We're multidimensionally. I mean, we're aware of the fact that we're multidimensional beings. Human consciousness. Human potential goes beyond, the physical realm. And these, everything in this civilization, is prone to the physical world. Society itself is designed in this way that's meant to break the human spirit, meant to keep occult power and knowledge out of the hands of the common man or Gentile. It's not, and these civilizations are all founded and built by the gods themselves. I don't like calling them gods, but the aliens, these alien parasites that created, the system, that founded civilizations, all human civilization, through, the cave system, or Plato's cave, the matrix. And so, humanity has never known a civilization of our own. Again, a real human civilization is psychic. It goes beyond, anything that we're familiar with when it comes to these civilizations. A real human civilization, it's in nature aligned. A real human civilization, is you know we're not you know you we're not you want to see paper money. Energy is free. um I mean, it's just it would be a whole different world, man. So so yeah, this guy's wrong right off the bat. Non-white people don't come, to clamor. I mean, they don't clamor to live in white nations. They're pretty much forced to live in white nations, since non-white people aren't allowed to have the same level of culture as white people are. And so, and given that, these reptilians, they, through, their European, I mean, I don't want to say European based empires, but through European societies where a lot of these reptilians, operate from, they use Europeans to invade, non-white lands you know, and help create, these shitholes, these third world countries and all that. Again, these aliens, they keep occult power and knowledge out of the hands of the human masses. They keep the non-white people from opening their third eyes, from getting in touch. I mean, allowing them to, they keep these non-white people from obtaining, or achieving samadhi, high levels of gnosis, to where they can have their own, to where they can have, decent and clean societies. And since we're not allowed to have our own societies, not, at least not to the same level as Europeans are, we're kind of forced. We're stuck in situations to where we're forced to immigrate into European societies. Is it right? No, it's not. It's wrong. And I'm totally in agreement there. I mean, if it was up to me, if it was up to me, I would keep, Europeans in Europe, and I would keep all non-white people in their own, countries. But because I don't believe, despite Europeans being allowing themselves to be used by reptilians, as pawns to invade, that reptilians use to invade non-white countries. I still stand by the idea, that two wrongs don't make a right. So just because, they invade our lands, I mean, help invade our lands. I mean, the main ones here responsible are not white people, but reptilians and hybrids, and other alien types like the Greys. And so so it's not white people that are behind these invasions. They're just it might be to some small extent, but for the most part, they're manipulated into doing what they do against non-white people. So I'm not blaming white people here. I mean, at least, I'm not giving them credit as being the sole, evil, involved here when it comes to, keeping non-white people down. It's the aliens that control this planet that do. And, so yeah, but if it was up to me, immigration, I'd solve that problem. But it's not, Anyways, he went on to say other women would go to great lengths to trade up for men of that race. Men of all other races would lust pathetically after the females of the hypothetical superior race. And so my response to this is that anyone who is psychic enough, anyone who is third eye open and is able to sense the power of souls, is able to see past the human hologram, the physical human, body, because because there's more than one part of the human being, and I mean, you got the physical body, then you got the astral body, and then you got the soul itself, or the metaphysical body. I think the human being comes in three parts, and those who are I know two parts for sure, but those who are psychic enough to pick up on, to see beyond the physical realm into the very into the very soul of the human being itself, we know, that the souls of white people are based upon the black sun, the female aspect, on a metaphysical level, on a soul-based level. The souls of white people are based upon the black sun. White people on the physical realm have the strongest connection to light. So on the physical realm, white people are creators. So these reptilians, when it came to bringing us, technology and all that through white hosts, through hybrids, they had to do it through Europeans. They couldn't, they wouldn't be compatible with non-white people, because our creations, our source of creation lies in the spiritual realm, in the metaphysical. So because our souls are tied to the white sun on a metaphysical level. The black man, the black male, and I'm not black, by the way. I'm Native American and white. My father's Lakota Sioux, and the Lakota Sioux have a lot of our origins pretty much come from Siberia, North Asia, and we have the strongest genetic links in Siberia. So and my mother is white, European, mainly of Scottish descent. She's also a Rh negative blood type too, O negative, and I've seen her, my mother, I've seen shapeshift anomalies with her before, so I know she's a reptilian hybrid, or she could be a host. I don't know, but yeah. So I'm just letting people know that I'm not giving credit here. I'm not. There's no bias on my end when it comes to black people, because I'm not part black. But I'm saying that black people have the strongest connection to the white sun on the metaphysical level, to the light, and so and again, for somebody that's psychic, that's able to see beyond the human physical body into the very soul itself, I'm telling the truth in regard to this. So yeah, and so add that with this. So during humanity's creation, when the alien gods, quote unquote, created humanity, they during our creation process, they cut the soul into two parts. This is spoken about in Greek mythology when it came to the god Zeus creating humanity, and this is also spoken about in Mayan mythology too, in the Mayan creation story about the gods creating humanity in two forms of corn. And white corn and yellow corn. White corn represents the masculine, the male, the light. And then you have black, and then you have yellow corn. Yellow is darker than white. Yellow represents yin, female. Black, yin energy. So the female, she's inside this matrix, inside a matrix where humanity is cut off from the light, cut off from occult power and knowledge, third eye blind. The female rules, the female aspect, the black sun rules, over humanity. Plato's cave allegory is a metaphor for the matrix, and the cave is a place ruled by darkness, yin energy. The female. A lot of people like to think, especially a lot of black, African American truthers, they like to push this idea that we live under a, patriarchal system, and it's the female that's kept down and all that. The so-called divine feminine, which is the furthest from the truth. In reality, though, it's the male, the masculine aspect that we're cut off from, that is suppressed, and Plato's cave, the fire that casts the shadow show on the cave's wall, the light, the false light, represents the false patriarchy. So and a lot of people that really can't see beyond the system, they attribute the shadow show, the false light, to being the true patriarchy, which is not the case at all. The true patriarchy, the true light, is outside of the matrix, and humanity will never come to realize that fact until we reconnect with the light, the joining of the two pillars of the soul. Even and they even somewhat tell you this in Freemasonry, that there's two sides to the soul, female and male, and once these two sides, are joined back up, made into one, the Godhead is achieved, samadhi, and you become, you ascend beyond this, three-dimensional world. You ascend into the fourth dimension, and you become a master of time. But at the moment, humanity is enslaved to the false concept of time. So and they even tell you this somewhat, in the Mayan creation story. So when they talk about humanity being made out of corn, well, the word corn ties to the word to the name, to the Greek god Kronos. Kronos is Saturn, the god of time, the god of death. And it's time that humanity being tied to the false concept of such, it's what destroys us. So another word for corn is maize, M-I-Z-E. The phonetic tell word for maize is maze, M-A-Z-E, as in labyrinth. So we're stuck in a maze. We're stuck in the Hotel California, enslaved to the false concept of time. So when the Mayans talk about humanity being made into corn, we're literally made into like the Matrix, the false concept of time, cut off from the light, the light that would guide us out, That's what makes, I believe, the age of Pisces, the age we're in now, so special, because it's the 10th age of the zodiac. And number 10 represents the sun, so you got the, 10 is the sun's number, the sun at its highest point, and then 1, with representing the age of Aries, also, corresponds to the Chinese zodiac animal, the rat. The rat comes in number 1 in the Chinese zodiac, because the rat, this is a rat's race. This is a rat's matrix. Rats are sneaky. They lie. They cheat. They deceive. They're weak little parasites. And but we're in. The rat. This system is the rat's system, and the rat has designed it in this way to where humanity is, to where it rigged the race to where it's always in the lead, despite being the smallest, the most pathetic animal on the Chinese zodiac. So number 10, interestingly enough, in the Chinese zodiac, corresponds to the rooster, the phoenix, the chicken, but the chicken, the phoenix, well, the rooster, can become, the phoenix, because the rooster is it's the 10th animal in the Chinese zodiac. 10 represents the sun at its highest point. The rooster, another word for rooster is cock, and again, the rooster ties into the light, shines the brightest out of all animals on the Chinese zodiac. And they gave it, another name for rooster is cock, corresponding to the male. The sun's light. Another word, the phonetic tell word for sun is S-O-N, son, as in, male child, again, it's, it's the masculine aspect that represents the light, the gain, the creative force. We're the ones that create the seed. Women bring in the life. Women don't women may help create life to some degree, but it starts with the male, and I mean, but for the most part, women, the women bring in, the life, life into this universe. They represent the black sun or the wormhole. Wormholes are gateways into parallel universes, and I believe reincarnation itself ties into the multiverse. So the woman's womb hole is the wormhole, that brings life into this universe, through the multiverse, through reincarnation, the reincarnation process. And so, the woman is a literal, organic portal. But yeah, so humanity is cut off from the light, and as long as that's the case, certain genders and certain races, well, the female gender, which ties into the black sun a lot more so than males do, and in certain races like the white races tie into black sun energy more so than they do, more so than any darker skinned races do. And as long as humanity is cut off from the light, cut off, third eye blind, no, no, having no samadhi achieved or anything like that. This gender in these races will always be brought, will always be promoted over everyone else. And the only way one will ever truly defeat racism is by, obtaining, high enough level of gnosis to where you achieve samadhi, the perfect attainment in consciousness, human spiritual perfection. And then once that's achieved, the matrix just, it will be broken. And those who control the matrix, which are these aliens, the Black Sun Society, are in trouble. And so, but until then, and once that happens, there'll be a real balance among the races, among white people, black people, Asians, and real racial equality would be achieved here. The woman, the Black Sun, will either be sent back to the kitchen, or she'll be able to express her potential and greatness too. To the same level as any man. So that's the reason why, a lot of people are prone to whitewashing. A lot of non-white people find Europeans more attractive, and because they're not, it's because the European soul is not based upon the light to the same extent as it is with the non-white races, the darker skinned races. And and I know one will say, well, if Europeans aren't, if the European soul isn't based on the light, then why do they have that solar appearance to them on the physical, within the physical realm? The blonde hair, the blue eyes, the fair skin, and blue eyes isn't even a real color pigment in the eye. It's the color, the blue in people's eyes is created by light refraction. It's not a real color. It's an illusion, just like their superiority is. But the black sun acts as a spiritual receptor for light energy. Dark colors. Like the color black, and again, black isn't a color. It's the essence to where all color comes from. It's not technically a color. White is, but not black. But dark colors, tied to dark matter, tied to the black sun, and dark matter, the black sun aspect acts as a spiritual receptor for light energy. So this is the reason why they have these solar traits about them. It's because that light that's shining through the black sun, or drawing in light is what through the physical. It's projected through the physical body, so it's seen on the physical. But if people have their third eyes open and we're allowed to see beyond the physical realm, beyond the physical body into the very soul itself, you will know that these people, their souls are not based upon the light, and that's the truth, man. I mean, there's no way I can really prove that either. That's something that one can only learn of through an open third eye, through occult power and knowledge, and that's where I'm at a disadvantage here when it comes to convincing people of this fact. But open your third eyes. If you're somebody that's third eye blind, I urge you to open your third eye, and you'll see for yourself, that I speak truth. But anyways, so going on, he goes on to say the jealousy and resentment this breeds would lead other races constantly feel threatened just by the theoretical superior race's presence. and I believe, everything I said prior to that would explain, why a lot of non-white people out there are insecure when it comes to being around white people. And again, it's because we're cut off from the very essence that our soul is based upon, or from the very aspect which is the masculine, the light, just as white people are cut off from it too. Um, and then he went on to say, oh, and everyone on the planet would speak their language, wear their clothing, and trade in their money. And then this, little sarcastic, purely hypothetically, but but again, one thing about these people, man, they never acknowledge, secret societies, and they'll never acknowledge, aliens, and the fact that our civilization isn't a real human civilization. I've never heard a white supremacist ever say anything. I mean, they never bring up, man, that civilization itself is for the most part imitation with so, but again, the language that we speak is not, I mean, all language, especially the languages of today, and that's probably the reason why you have language. The word language has the word age in it. The last three letters is age, so so representing it's the language of this age that these secret societies, that the reptilians that work through these secret societies helped bring, helped establish into this matrix during this age, because it's a language. These languages are meant to work against us. And I believe they're meant to work against us on a black magic sort of a level, because they say words are wards are spells, and when you write down words, you're they say that's called spelling. So you're actually you're actually writing out spells, because words are based in vibrations, and vibrations is power, and humanity isn't allowed to speak any language that's actually magically aligned, that's tied into magic, that would where like. But I will say this very fast. I suggest that one looks up the documentary called The Golden Web Part 1 by Chiron Last. And if you want to watch a documentary that will literally blow your mind, I recommend watching this one right here.
Where we would have land.
Language itself is extremely coded, and it's based upon negative magical vibrations, and yeah, and this documentary here, if you watch it, it will prove to you that that the language that we the languages that we speak, that we have spoken probably since the dawn of our creation. Although I would say the languages further back, when you take it close to the literal creation of humanity, are going to be a lot more real than anything we speak today. But again, humanity was created within a matrix, so I don't believe that we really ever had any real true quote unquote human language. So but yeah, if you watch this video here, language, the Golden Web part one, and I'll post a link to this video in my video's description, so you guys can watch it for yourselves. And if you watch this video here too, that's odd. BitChute's not working for me. but there's another video that I want you guys to watch, and I'll post a link to that video in the video description too of this video, and so you guys can watch it. So there's two videos, but I do recommend checking out Chiron Last's channel, his backup channel. This guy is no longer on YouTube anymore. He like a lot of real truth, a lot of real truthers, and I do consider Chiron Last as being one of the best truthers that I've ever stumbled across on YouTube. He ended up becoming homeless, and he ended up he just he was making a few videos, once he did, not a few, he made quite a few videos talking about his homeless life, and you could tell that he in the videos that in his last videos he was really going through a hard time, and then pretty soon it just got to that point where he just stopped making them, and I guess his channel was deleted. This is a backup channel, Chiron Last backup, and he I don't know if if the guy is even still alive or not, but I hope he is. But yeah, that's I think that's what happens to people that really push out good info, and do have enough influence within the matrix to where they can get to people's hearts, and to their minds, convince people. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, so that's pretty much me, man. I'm breaking this down, and I also wanted to show you guys the man who sent this to me, what he looks like. I've had a run-in with this guy before on Facebook, over the whole Yazuki controversy, in regard to Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft making a black samurai, and basing this samurai off an actual historical character, a black dude that was in Japan during its feudal age, I think somewhere like in the 1500s or something. But there's a lot of speculation on whether Yazuki was actually a samurai or not. I, for one, don't believe he was. I think he was just I think Yazuki was pretty privileged in feudal Japan. I think he was treated pretty well by the samurai there, but I don't believe he ever was influential, had enough influence to where he actually made the title, and that's my belief there. But I was talking about how because there was a lot of white people saying that talking a lot of shit about black people, and pushing them, and pushing black people off as being like it's their fault to why this wokeness, this woke agenda is being pushed, and I had to say something about it because it's technically no Gentile race is at fault with any agenda being pushed through the system. The ones that are race baiting, the ones that are pushing this woke crap, and to me the woke agenda is a psyop that's meant to demonize white people, that's meant to make white people look like monsters, and it's meant to demoralize the non-white races into making the non-white races look inferior, to instill some sort of inferiority complex within non-whites, to where we believe that Europeans are superior. It's a sneaky method of the reptilian, the woke agenda, to do just this. And so yeah, it makes, the woke agenda makes non-white people out to be like, we're too stupid to have the same level of culture as non-whites. As white people, white Europeans. We're too no, we're too stupid, too weak. I mean, like we need it promotes this false idea, like we need white people in order to have, any level of, quote unquote civilization. So like and it's bullshit, man. And not enough people call it out for what it is. Instead, there's a lot of non-white people out there that just seem to go along with it, and it makes me so pissed because they don't understand that the main purpose behind this agenda is not to empower them, but to make them look weak and pathetic. And it does, and the woke agenda does a pretty good job at doing that. And so, I called, so I said that, man. I said, I was telling these white people on this Assassin's Creed Facebook page that it's not just everybody's at fault, and it's not it's not just black people out there promoting this woke crap, but it's a lot of white people too. I mean, and if it wasn't for white people, being used by the reptilians, to invade, Japan a long time ago, back before the reptilians imposed imperialism upon them through Europeans. They used Europeans to force borders, to force Japan to open its borders to outsiders. And once that happened, and once they turned into an imperialist state, everything just went downhill from there. I saw, to me, the samurai, even though I don't believe the samurai themselves were legit either. Again, I'm standing, I'm coming from the idea that every culture on the planet, every society, has always been directly controlled by alien shapeshifters working behind the scenes. Again, humanity was created within the cave, and those who create the shadow show are the reptilians. I mean, and so they've always been directly involved in all human societies, regardless of race. All the way back since the dawn of our creation, when these reptilians even used to live among us as gods, I believe, and I believe that time is coming again soon. With the golden age of Saturn, because they say once Aquarius comes, will be the mark of the golden age of Saturn. The great rest for the Jewish people, and when their Messiah will come back, when Yahweh, the alien hive mind, is able to rule out in the open once more, where to the point to where these aliens will no longer need to hide behind human disguises, human holograms. They'll just be able to rule. They'll have the human spirit so tied down by then that they'll just be able to rule out in the open once again. And it's stated in Talmud, once that time comes, their chosen people, for each one of their chosen, they will have 2,800 Gentile slaves. And I believe that this golden age, that it's not our golden age, as the Joy of Satan would falsely claim. Hooded Cobra will say that the gods are coming back during Aquarius, and it's like, it's not. The gods are these reptilians, these aliens, And the truth is, humanity has no real guidance from any sort of ascended master outside of this matrix, and that's another topic in itself, man. I know a lot of these ancient myths talk about, human beings in the ancient past, ascending to godhood and all that, like the Buddha himself. But I assure you, these aliens have always had their spiritual propaganda, since day one. And it's these alien gods that have inspired a lot of these ancient myths. And one thing the Joy of Satan will admit, will be honest about, on some level, is that Satan never finished his work on humanity. He never got humanity to achieve the magnum opus as a whole. He was stopped beforehand. He was stopped in his work, in his completion of humanity. So again, this is just, them telling you on some level, even though they're not being very honest in that story either, because I don't believe that no good gods ever really got involved in human affairs. But again, it just should tell you that, these aliens have always had one up over the human species, always. And they're the ones that have always given us, our, like the pagan religions, which are more realistic, far more realistic than compared to, the Judaic, versions, corrupted versions of such, man. Because that's pretty much that's what the Judaic religions are, a corrupted version of paganism. And paganism laid out the blueprint for the Judaic religions. So, it's these gods, man, that have established everything within within these imitation civilizations that they've always, ruled us through, and they ruling us through the Matrix, Plato's cave, which civilization is just a part of, So yeah, but last thing I wanted to show you guys though was I was gonna get to another point there too, but this attachment on me made me forget. But I wanted to show you guys this Mark Sharpie, and this is quite the interesting character because he'll push all this white supremacist junk. Like he'll be racist to me and send me that meme, but at the same time, this guy's kid, I believe, is Hispanic, an actual someone, a kid that's mixed, racially mixed between Hispanic and white, and Hispanic ties into Native Americans, indigenous people, and I just find it funny that you'll sit there and you'll call non-whites inferior and all that, yet your son is a fucking non-white person, is a racially mixed person. I mean, wouldn't that be crazy, dude, to have a parent, to have a dad that literally views you as a lesser human being, somebody that's less racially inferior to his own people. Imagine, I wonder if he ever tells his son this, that white people are better than him. Like, I wonder if he tells him that directly, I can't imagine my white grandparents, because I was raised on my mother's side of the family, by my grandfather, my grandma, and they were white, and my grandmother was was of German descent, and my grandpa, I'd say mainly Scottish and English, and I know my grandma had to have some German in her too, because according to my DNA, some Scottish in her too, because according to my DNA test, I'm like, I have the biggest chunk of my European DNA comes from Scotland. So, but yeah, my grandma though, man, my grandparents, white and my grandma, German, she was mainly German. My great grandma, on her side of the family, spoke full fluent German. And we, my family even has baby pictures of me being held by my grandma Einman. And that was her name, Einman. But she was a full-blown German woman that spoke full fluent German, and a lot of white people in South Dakota, have German ancestry. There's a lot of, immigrants that came from Germany. I think during like its, during like the 18th, 17th century, I would say 18th, that migrated from Germany to South Dakota. So you have a lot of German descent in this state. So, but yeah, I try to think of myself as a child, and I try to, envision myself, being talked down upon by my white grandparents. I just can't imagine them ever saying that, having this talk with me, white people are your racial superiors, and you'll never amount up to the same, to the same potential, to the same things that they can. And you just have to, that shit would fucking break me, dude. That shit would, I can't imagine it. It would break my spirit. That shit would be devastating, upon a kid if they were told this, by their parents. So it just really makes me sick, dude. Like seeing, I kind of doubt this guy would ever say anything like this to his kid, but apparently this is what he truly believes, though. So, it just let that sink in, how fucked up, such a situation like that is. And again, and if you're white and you truly think, you're better than people like me or any other non-white person on the planet, then what the hell are you doing, hooking up with women that aren't of your own race? I mean, that alone is, shows a huge deal of insecurity there, man, and just, and just rattiness, dude. It's such a ratty fucking personality. But still, I kind of tend to think that this guy is a reptilian, though, and not an actual human, because this guy will refuse to have an actual discussion with me. And not only that, man, like, the signs are there too. If you check out his Facebook profile, you'll see him holding up a dinosaur, a green T-Rex, symbolizing, the reptilian, and it's a really odd picture to take, like, he could have used any other toy to hold up and say, hey, I'm going to take a picture of myself here, but he holds up, the green dinosaur, and I'll show you guys, the other weird pictures that he's taken, that he has displayed. One of He-Man with the Aryan blonde with the tiger, the Rakshasa. The tiger symbolizes the Rakshasa. The Rakshasa. Look, if you don't know what a Rakshasa is, check out this link here. So Rakshasas come from they are a race, or they're tied to India, the Vedics, and it says they are a race of usually malevolent beings, predominantly featured in Hindu mythology. They reside on the earth, but possess supernatural powers, which they usually use for evil acts, such as disrupting Vedic sacrifices or eating humans. They are offered a distinction from yakshas, their cousins, who are depicted to be forces of destruction. The term is also used to describe asuras, a class of power-seeking beings that oppose the benevolent devas. They are often depicted as antagonists in Hindu scriptures, as well as in Buddhism and Jainism. The female form of Rakshasa is Rakshashi, but they talk about the Rakshasas being shapeshifters too, able to take on, human appearances and all that. I think right here is where they talk about it. Rakshasas were most often depicted as shape-shifting, fierce-looking, enormous, monstrous-looking creatures with two fangs protruding from the top of the mouth and having sharp claws, claw-like fingernails. They were shown as being mean, growling beasts and as insatiable man-eaters that could smell the scent of human flesh. Some of the more ferocious ones were shown with flaming red eyes and hair, drinking blood with cupped hands or from human skulls. So, similar to representations of the vampire in later Western mythology. And vampires are based upon, the idea of the dragon. The original vampire originates from Count Dracula or Vlad the Impaler from Romania. Who was part of a secret society called the Order of the Dragon. Dracula's name, I think, is you have Drac in it, dragon, Drake. So Dracul. And the dragon is the reptilian shapeshifter, spoken about in Chinese mythology. The goddess responsible for the creation of humanity is a snake-like woman, is a woman that is like part snake, part human. And so this stuff, the dragon itself, symbolizes, the reptilian shapeshifter. And yeah, so yeah, cats, tiger, Rakshasas are are said to have tiger heads too. And if you do enough research on them, they'll actually talk about this. I don't know if they talk about this in the Wikipedia link here, talking about Rakshasas being lion-headed or tiger-headed. But they also talk about God's angels, the angels from the Bible, from the Christian Bible, having lion heads. Again, the Rakshasa, or the lioness, the female aspect. Cats represent the female aspect, the black sun. The lioness being the great devourer. It's what the aspect, the female aspect. Since we're cut off from the light, we are forced to reincarnate back into this realm over and over again, as long as we don't get back in touch with the light and utilize and tame the female side of the soul, utilize it, get the two working together to where you can achieve immortality, physical immortality, break free from the cycles of reincarnation. As long as you're cut off from the light part of the soul, the masculine aspect, that female aspect is what will destroy you, once you cross into the physical threshold of death. And the female aspect will devour you, and you'll be forced to reincarnate. So I wanted to show you guys something else though that supports what I'm saying about Rakshasas. So in D&D lore, Rakshasas are symbolized by tigers, tiger-headed, as you could see here. So they're even letting you know, like on some level, how the cat ties in with the Matrix. Representation of Saturn, 9 lives. Saturn's numbers, I think, are 3, 6, and 9. So the cat, the Rakshasa. The cat is a female pet, by the way. It's not a male pet. Men usually tend to get dogs. And dogs tie into, dog spelled backwards is God, and God corresponds with the light aspect of the soul, the masculine, not the goddess part, the yin, but the light, the male, the sun, and so dogs represent inside this matrix the corrupted, what the Matrix wants to see all men as, dogs. So they're also, these aliens are also the ones that bring us our pets, like cats and dogs, and these animals act, as means to manipulate, the psychic mind and to condition it, to condition the mind itself. So if they get you, loving your dog, and you're creating this psychic connection to your dog, or to your cat, this, and cats are predatory animals, and both of these animals, cats symbolize the corrupted female, dogs symbolize the corrupted male, and as long as long as we tie to these animals, and love them and own them. I own a dog and I own 2 cats. And and I hope one day, if I ever get my shit straight, get this attachment off of me, I'll be able to give them away to people that will take care of them, because I definitely don't want to connect with any bad karma through these animals, but at the same time, I'm still human. I'm still programmed to want pets, to love and care for animals that probably don't really give 2 shits about me, but yeah, man, the cat ties into Rakshasa and He-Man here, a picture of He-Man with the matriarchy. He-Man represents the Aryan, the masters of the universe, the Aryan, and it's a white supremacist cartoon. So it's no surprise that this guy would be a fan. And again, he's holding the matriarchy, the Rakshasa, the Hindu vampire, the shapeshifter, the aliens, or the alien host, because that's what the reptilian host symbolizes. The cat. The cat is an archetype for the reptilian host, because once a human being becomes hosted by a reptilian soul, a reptilian soul from the astral or through some biological process takes over the human body. Let's say, a human being gets taken, down to some underground base, gets droned in a drilling process like Donald Marshall talks about. They become the reptilian, a reptilian soul in a human body. But these reptilian souls will ever be able to utilize the human body only to, some degree. They'll never be able to really achieve the Godhead through it, because their souls do not, it's not a perfect match. It's not, they're not compatible on that level. So, so these people are known as, beastmen, satyrs, Saturns, or maybe even cats, cats, because cats, got the slit pupils. They're pretty much mammals. I mean, snakes with fur. Reptilian mammals. So so once a human being is hosted, they symbolize the cat. And that's what the cat represents is the the Rakshasa, the human host, the skinwalker. So so I'm, and then this guy has another picture of a little baby mouse rat. Just what I got done telling you guys about the Chinese zodiac, the rat race, and it's surrounded by a bunch of bones. So death, and so I'm just letting you guys know who this dude is. And I almost want, every time I look at a picture of his son, I almost want to cry because I don't know if this kid is what exactly what this kid could be going through behind closed doors. It's scary to fucking think about, dude. So it looks like some dude, some snake or some reptilian is wrapped around this guy. Probably, again, showing you that this guy has some sort of attachment on him. They say, the eyes are the windows to the soul. Art, the artwork that you represent yourself with, is an expression of the soul. So here you guys see, Kappa's turtles, reptilians with the clown, Pennywise. So again, clowns are represent reptilians too, the reptilian hybrid, the Rh negative ginger, with blue or green eyes. The original clown represents the Rh negative blood type, the ginger, the red hair, the pasty white skin. The clowns normally have the clown slits going down the eyes, representing the reptilian pupil, and then they have the red lipstick that go over their mouth, go all the way across their cheeks, giving the illusion that they have huge mouths, symbolizing the dinosaur, dinosauroid. So a lot of reptilian stuff right here too. So again, this guy has some weird obsession with cats, and spider, matriarchy. Spiders connected to the web of consciousness, tricksters, in Lakota culture, my father's bloodline, Native Americans view the spider as being the trickster god, Iktomi, and that's what the spider is called in Lakota culture, Iktomi, and I could also tell you guys something interesting right now too, in regard to spiders. Yeah, I'm sure you guys all heard about the nursery rhyme called "Itsy bitsy spider climbs up the water spout, out comes the rain, washes the spider out." So that nursery rhyme, represents reincarnation. So imagine imagine the matriarchy, the human being only being tied to the female aspect of the soul, cut off from the light, cut off from the masculine aspect, and so and we're connected to a web of consciousness. So our consciousness is prone to the matriarchy, where we're climbing around on the web, and we get caught up in this water spout. It rains. Suffering. Rain symbolizes suffering. And water spout. Symbolizes the wormhole. The womb hole. The woman. The woman's. Vagina. And you get washed out by the rain. You die. You go into the water spout. The wormhole. The vortex. The black hole into that will send you. Into another life, another incarnation. So the spider gets sucked up through the water spout, and then out comes the sun, dries up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider climbs up the water, the web again. So it's a nursery rhyme that ties to reincarnation, and I'm pretty sure it had been some reptilian that came up with that nursery rhyme. It's a really fucked up nursery rhyme, man. When you start to understand what it actually means, and you're like, there's no way, a human being came up with that nursery rhyme and had to been one of these assholes, so it's just so sick, man. But yeah, so here, there you go, it's just, there's a lot of weird shit on this guy's yeah, I wonder what that means, considering how big of a racist this dude is. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. And I don't know, I don't get what that means. But anyways, that's it. So I feel like I could talk a lot more, but I don't want to wear myself down. So I'll just leave it at that.